Today, we're going to get to the bottom of those lost libidos and tell you how to have more sex in your life with the help of TLC's Shalom in the Home, Rabbi Shmuley.
We're going to put those skills to the test today, because Ali's going to be the first one up that mountain. Your husband's life is going to be in your hands, literally. This is it. And if you guys work together with confidence, then Delora, who looks a bit frightened right now, will see that Mommy and Daddy are confident, they love each other. There's no place to fear when Mommy and Daddy are close and working together.
Okay, so we got a rabbi talking about having sex. It's not where I would think. I mean, it would be my first place to go if I had questions about this. Yeah, so what's up? Why do you think people aren't having sex so much? You've actually studied this, written about it? What's going on?
Well, Dr. Phil, I think there are three great misconceptions in our society about sex. The first is, if we flood the culture with all these sexual images, we're actually going to be sexier. That's not true. Sex works with mystery. It actually thrives behind shadows. Number two, we all thought that sex should be goal-oriented. It should all be about orgasm, when really sex is about anticipation. It's about building on a slow burn so that you want more of it. It's not goal-oriented, it's means-oriented. And the third thing is, we all think that sex is of the body. That if our sex life is dying, if I go on the treadmill, or if I get all kinds of surgical procedures, I'll look more attractive, I'll have more sex with my husband. That's also not true. Sex is primarily of the mind.
But there are a lot of women that say that they don't want to have sex. They say, maybe they say, I want to have sex, but I just don't want to. I'm tired. I got kids. I got problems. He's a schmuck. And, you know, we used to get along, but now, you know, there's a lot of women said to me that they don't want to. I don't mean they said it to me because I was asking. I mean, we get that right. It came out way wrong, didn't it? I've heard a lot of women say that they don't even want to have sex. So what's up with that? How do we change that?
Yeah, you know, it's actually interesting because we have this idea in our society that's the men who always say to their wives, how about sex tonight? And she says, not tonight, I have a headache. And yet the man can have an axe lodged in his head, and he's still ready. You know, it's actually not true. Women are much more sexual than men. So when women are telling you things like this, Dr. Phil, that they're not interested in sex, it's because somehow their husbands extinguish their libido. Look, when they don't understand that a woman's libido is more like a convection oven, needs to be warmed up a bit, and he just thinks she's a microwave, he's going to nuke her. You know, the net result is that, you know, don't complain if the sex is half-baked when you haven't taken the time to warm up the oven. Now, I'm actually seeing, you know, a reverse. It's quite amazing. You mentioned at the beginning of the show that in these tough economic times, sex is actually on the decrease, and that's true. It's men today who aren't touching their wives. I receive so many emails from women who are trying to describe the excruciating nature of lying there naked in bed night after night, and your husband thinks that you're some sort of mannequin. You don't need to be touched, you don't need to be fondled. Rather than playing with your assets, this guy's playing with a remote. And
one of the problems that I see is when people start being moms and dads, they stop being friends and lovers. They just think, oh, I've got a higher calling, this is more important. And so they let that crowd everything out, and I think that's an all-around bad deal. So how do we rekindle all of this? I mean, how do we get this back going?
Well, first of all, there's the practical, and then there's the more erotic. Practical is simple. You know, we have to minimize television watching in the bedroom. I mean, come on, is it really fair for a wife to have to compete against 500 channels of TV and all the...
I don't know, I think it's reasonable.
Well, you're sure excluded, of course, yes.
Is she smiling? All right, go ahead.
And then also we need to create function-free zones. You just mentioned that after people become parents, they actually start talking about who's going to take the kids to ballet and who's going to pick up the dry cleaning, and they don't communicate as a man and a woman. 9:30 p.m. and on should be a function-free zone. But what I'm also more focused on is the need to bring back these erotic principles. For example, one of the things that kills off sexual desire more than anything else is the loss of novelty. We all need new things to make us excited. We read the news, not the olds. So the same thing is true in our sex lives. Novelty does not mean something horizontal novelty. You need something pornographic. You need new flesh. Novelty can mean that you probe the erotic mind of your spouse. I wish that husbands would give their wives erotic interrogations. Ask her about her fantasies. Women have elaborate sexual fantasies, not like the male fantasies, which are very pornographic and very straightforward.
So women have erotic sexual fantasy. You said complex and erotic?
Yes.
Okay, such as?
I think husbands would be taken aback by the degree to which their wives fantasize about other men. And they hide this from their husbands because they don't think that the very brittle male libido can handle it. But interestingly, if the husband and wife...
That is tough on men. You ask your wife, you want to have sex? No, I can't really think of anybody.
Well, it's a lot better than the men. 80% of husbands admit to thinking about other women while making love to their wives. So here you are in the closest physical proximity to your wife, but in your mind, you're doing a guest appearance
80%?
on the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
80%?
So, 80%, yeah.
So that means there's 20% of us that don't do that. All right.
That's a good answer.
Well, let's talk about this with a guest, okay? I mean, let's do an actual application of these, what I think are excellent principles.